how to drive. By the way, Arctic Monkeys, gotten into them recently, kind of awesome. Now I do have to say, how do you drive? First off, navigation. You have to know where you're going, where you are, and where is around you, okay? You can start doing this when you're 15, when you're 14, I don't care. You need to start looking at Google Maps and start seeing where you are, where things are. You need to know where you're going. I think this is so important. So hopefully you have a parent who can teach you how to drive, but if not, if you don't have that parental figure teaching you these things, I can probably give you some advice here at least. Now, driving, first off, you have to know where you're going. You have to know where north, east, south, west is. So the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. So throughout the day, it goes from here to here. The reason I know that I don't have a compass right here is because this parking lot is parallel to 192, which is the main road which leads from west to east in my area. You need to find that main road and figure out which way is it headed and how you can triangulate where you need to go based off of that. When I'm in Google Maps, I ideally make sure that I'm looking on the north side and focusing on that. But you have to try to triangulate where you're going first. Now, from there, start looking at locations. Maybe a job, a college, a club organization. For me, it was Boy Scouts, whatever. You need to set up where are you gonna go and what's your plan to get there, what's your different routes. Your primary route, which is gonna be traffic ridden, but will get you there every day the same way, constant. Then you've got your secondary route. That is for less traffic. You're gonna drive a little bit slower at 30 miles per hour, maybe not 45. However, you will get there with minimal traffic. And when you're first starting out driving, that is very key. And then a third option, which is just a little weird, that's to teach you navigation. That is to teach you to follow a GPS and focus on where you need to be. Another thing is when you first buy your car, or you get a car, or you obtain a car, I think it's important that you get a GPS. Now I know your phone is a GPS now, and I think it's very important that you have that, but it's also very important that you have your own secondary GPS that is a satellite. The reason is you want to be able to compare your phone GPS to a satellite GPS like a Garmin or whatever. It's going to cost you about $100, and it's outdated and it sucks. It's absolutely garbage in comparison to a phone. But I still tell you this because when you're starting to drive, you need a GPS that is right here. And a phone will never really be there all the way all the time. It'll be down here somewhere, it'll be down here. You don't want to be looking anywhere else except right here when driving. The only time you look here is where a GPS should be, and that's it. No phone, no distraction, no text, no nothing. I do this because I know how to drive now. I don't look at the phone unless I'm at a stoplight or I'm parked like this, and I just focus on the road and occasionally glance over. That's it. I think it's so important when you're starting out driving that you take the time to know the address that you're going, the roads that you need to be turning onto and everything like that, and then you put it into the GPS and it's a guidance. It's loud. It's turn left here in 500 feet, turn left here in 200 feet, turn left here into 10 feet, okay, turn. All of those things come together to get you to your destination. So, navigation is primary when I tell you this. Next up, I would say sitting in your car just like this, as a passenger or whatever. You need to understand your car, right? You've got your main window shield, you've got your rear view mirror, you turn here, and you've got your side mirror. Then you have your blind spot here, secondary blind spot there. You see what I'm talking about? So you have to be able to look from all the way over here, rear view mirror, up to the in front of you, anticipate who's coming. Do you need to get brake checked or something? Is somebody brake checking you on top of that? And then you need to look here, glance. You're seeing in the back. You want to look here and occasionally look here with your peripheral vision to get back here. All of that should be in one fell swoop. This is how you should turn. It's look, you're seeing the cars around you with your peripheral, you're understanding where they are. You need to focus on the road, but you should still be aware of cars that are passing you, pulling back. You should just kind of be aware of them so that when you need to turn, you already know where they are. It's simply double checking that they're still where they are. And this guy's in my blind spot here. Yep, he's still there. Okay. And this guy, okay, he's out of my blind spot finally. Okay, I can turn. You need to be aware of your surroundings. Perspicacious, you know what I mean? Now, one fell swoop is simply, you already know where everything's at with your peripherals, but now it's 1, 2, 3, boom. That was 1 second. Now let's get it to half a second. 1, 2, 3, boom. Okay, 1, 2, 3, boom. 1, 2, 3, boom. Actually, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 technically. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's quick. It's turn. And you got to be able to turn your neck pretty fast. Get a little comfortable in your seat. Another thing is, you need to be able to kind of glance around a little bit, turn, use your turn signal, don't go over the speed limit, simple stuff. First thing of driving when you're first starting out, don't press on that brake like it's a video game. These things can go fast, very fast. Now, what you need to do is, see how I check both sides? You know that whole check both sides of the street when you're a kid? That still applies to driving. Speed bump here, I could smash over it in high speed, but it's gonna destroy my suspension. So I'm gonna take it as slow as possible. See here. The most primary thing that you should know in driving is that you need to stay in your lane where you're supposed to be. If you're in the United States, that means being on the right side of the road correctly. And you need to be, when first learning how to drive, I truly believe that you need to be in a rural area. It gives you highway experience without being in expressways and city streets. City streets in Orlando right now are absolutely atrocious. You've got one-sided streets, and then this exit here goes onto the freeway, and then right next to it is the exit, or the entrance and the exit right next to each other. You should probably follow other cars as well. And the reason I told you to have a GPS is because there's going to be times where you're going to take a wrong exit. And when that happens, you need a GPS to tell you how to correct on that so you don't get lost. And having a GPS already ready to go telling you how to adjust for mistakes that you make, it's okay that you made those mistakes, but you need to follow your GPS and reroute to wherever. Understand that when you're first driving, you're probably going to be late a couple times. So you need to plan for that and understand that you're probably going to need a little bit more time in case you miss a place. And honestly, this is good advice for anyone in any experience. You should, if you have a meeting at 7, you should be there 15 to 30 minutes early just in case. For traffic, but also if you make a mistake, you miss an exit, whatever. Things happen. Life is constantly a changing variable. Now, next thing here, yes, staying in your lane. Staying in your lane is essential. As long as you stay in your lane, anyone that hits you, it's their fault. However, you need to be aware of brake checking in front of you, And you need to understand that you need to give more space behind for the person behind you, because if you brake check that someone else brake checked and they brake checked you and the person before them brake checked them, by the time it gets back here, you may be the one that gets hit. So keep your distance from the car in front of you. You don't need to be that close, all right? You're not Speedy Gonzalez. This isn't GTA 5. There's no reason that you need to be hugging the butt of the BMW in front of you or whatever. No reason, okay? Let's be safe here. Because it's not the fact that I trust your brakes. It's the fact that I don't trust the person behind you brakes. You understand? Now, with those two basics in mind, stay in your lane. Stay in the center lane if possible, if you need to get left or right very fast. And also, make sure that you're staying behind the car in front of you with enough distance that you're able to brake in time, as well as the car behind you. Okay, so as long as you stay in your lane and you brake when you need to and you need to go when you need to, you're set. Another thing is your reaction time. Reaction time is everything, and that's why when you're young and you're playing some video games, make sure that you understand how valuable your reaction time is in this world. Whether you're going into law enforcement or driving or playing some video games or whatever, reaction time is essential to your survival driving a car. Now, you can't prevent against everything, but you can make intelligent maneuvers when you are focused on the road. It's very essential. Next thing is, it gets into the rules. Now, when you get your permit, at least in the state of Florida, you're going to take a 4-hour drug and alcohol course. It basically teaches you about all the dangers of taking drugs and drinking alcohol on the road. That's because teens at the age of 15 all the way up until 25 have a higher rate of insurance because they are teens and they are stupid and they will go out drinking and driving. That drug and alcohol course is simply telling you maybe you should, I don't know, be intelligent, don't do stupid stuff. It's really a lame course because it's having you memorized all these state statutes when you can just say, so I'm not going to do drugs or drink when driving. Am I done now? Nope, you still got to do the entire 4-hour course. And it is 4 hours. There is no speeding it up. You have to be in it for 4 hours exactly. You actually have to stand on each page for a certain amount of seconds before you're able to progress. So that sucks. It's just like an unskippable ad in a mobile game or whatever, or YouTube. Anyways, the next thing, after you get your permit, you want to make sure to get it as soon as you turn 15. That's because you need to have a learner's permit for a year before you're able to proceed and get your driver's license. At least in the state of Florida. I'm going off of Florida experience. Now, when you get closer to the age of 16, you're going to have to take a driving course. At some point, you're going to have to take your driver's test, which is like a little test, parallel parking, stop signs, braking very fast, backing up, whatever. Brake and checking all of your mirrors and everything like that. That's easy. That's no problem. If you've been driving with your parent for a year, with your permit, it's a breeze. Just be careful, be smart, and you can't fail a driving test unless you're an idiot. After driving with a permit for a year, your parents should hopefully give you many opportunities to learn how to drive. Someone in the passenger seat that isn't a backseat driver. I'm talking about someone that is just like driver's ed coach, teaching you how to do it, how to drive safely, how to keep your wits about you, how to be smart, don't be stupid, and learn about the road. So that right there, that's that stoplight. You see how that's yellow there? That blinking yellow means that you're able to go, but you need to wait for oncoming traffic. It's basically like a stop sign right now. All of these little things can be taught. You don't need to actually sit down and read a course about all this, but you will have to do one I think it's like 10 hours or something for driver's ed. So you can do that for the course of the year that you're 15 to 16. You have all that time to get that driver's ed course done. And then when you go to the DMV and try to get your license, you just take I think it's like a 10-minute driving test, no problem. But you got to get your experience, and you got to have someone with you that is a decent driver that's teaching you everything about the road. What do these little white dotted lines here mean? Well, that means that I can switch over at any time. The solid white lines mean I can't switch over. I have to stay in my lane. However, it is a lane that is similar to mine. It's a one that goes parallel and not opposite, which means that to the left and right side of me, we're good. It's just saying right now that there's probably some curves up ahead, and I shouldn't be turning into different types of lanes. And then on the other side, you've got a yellow line to indicate that this is the opposite side of the road. That is the other side, you know? All these little things you'll learn. Honestly, watching a couple of YouTube videos and just watching other people drive is the best way to. So stop going on your phone when your parents are driving around and start learning, okay? But honestly, driving is not that hard. It just takes a couple basics, but I wanted to provide some insight to you on the thought process behind your first driving test with yourself, I guess, or your first experience driving. One last thing. There's something I do with my mirrors that is very important. A lot of people will have their rear view mirrors here on each side. They have it where it's basically looking at the car, your car. That's not important. You want to pull it out as much as possible because that's going to give you the most blind spot. So what I do is I wait for my mirror to be like right where it's touching my where it's looking at my car, and I'll put it out a little bit until I can't see my car unless I wiggle my head. That right there is how you get the most blind spot elimination, right? So now another thing is you need to sit in your car and get comfortable. Not lean back, not lean forward, just comfortable. Your head is not going to be sitting on the rest like this. This is not intelligent. This slows your brain and thinking down. You need to be upright and ready to go. You don't need to be doing this. Now, you are supposed to have your hands on 10 and 2 on the wheel. And when you're first driving, your hands are going to be so sore and sweaty because you're like this. And you're like, geeking out. I know, it's tough. You got to get over that fear, and you got to relax. Primarily now, I use one hand, but I have my wits about me, and I can grab really quick if I need to really change something really fast. But don't take that advice. You should keep 10 and 2 on the wheel at all times, but relaxed. Relaxed, focused, non-sweaty, perfect. Now, one last thing for you is that when I drive in any new car that I haven't driven before, I take the time to adjust my mirrors, my seat behind me, everything like that, and I just sit in the car for a second. I look at all the blind spots. I mean, I really look around and just get a feel for driving this car. Your steering wheel, you know, the feel of it, the changing of the gears, your windshield wipers, your turn signal. Feel where everything is. Look at every button and get set up. This is the time to set up a GPS, where you're going, whatever you need. Just get a feel for the car that you're in. You're not a stunt driver. You can't just jump into a Honda Civic and start zooming away. You need a little bit of practice, a little bit of focus. You need to kind of feel out your car. Another thing is, when you're first driving, is that I like to have my passenger or someone that's teaching me about how to drive, is I would have my dad tell me how close the line is over here. And you need to look at the windshield right here and use your windshield wiper as an indicator to where the dotted line is, right? So staying in the center of your lane is kind of difficult because all different cars are different sizes, and you want to be in the absolute center of the lane, because even if you're still in the lane, you can lean to one side of it depending on if there's traffic on the right side or left side, which is what I just did now. And it's very small. I'm still in my lane. I probably wouldn't have hit him even if I got closer to him, but there's no reason that I needed to. Again, there's a truck on my left side here, so I'm leaning over to the right side of my lane. That's not almost on the outside of my lane. It's just simply leaning to the other side to reduce the risk of an accident. If he leans over too far on his side and then he hits me, no go, no bueno, no good. So, yeah, we just try to lean over to one side just a little bit, and that's exactly what we need. But yeah, like I was saying before, I'll have somebody call out how close I am to a dotted line, and that way I can kind of pinpoint on the windshield wiper where my most right side of my car should be. You go over that line, okay, now I get it, you know? That's how you get a feel for your car, how wide your car is. It's very essential. Honestly, I think that's everything you need to know about the basics of driving. Anyways, I'll catch you next time. We've got a lot of plans. I'll catch you later. See ya.